Hi there. Just making a quick video on a puzzle table that I built here. This is going to be a very large puzzle table designed to fit the 3,000 piece puzzles that are the super large size. They are about like 32 by something like 47, the size of the puzzle. So I started off with just making a box, and then I was going to have drawers on the end. But it somehow, I kept evolving it into different things. You can see that it's basically, this is the bottom of it, and I'm debating on whether I'm going to put this Lazy Susan here and decide whether or not I want this little wood disc. The Lazy Susan will get screwed to the bottom, and you have to put a hole through the wood disc to be able to then screw this down to the table. You can see you have to be able to go around and screw the holes. I might just leave it plain or put a thinner, bigger piece of plywood because I don't want the whole table to rock. We're actually looking at the bottom of the table. And I'm going to take this off and show you what's inside. I haven't actually nailed it together and glued it down and all that. I'm going to take this piece of plywood here, and I'll probably pull it back and then mark the position of where all the boards are on the edges and draw it all out with pencil so I can put glue and then some pin nails through to hold this on. This will be the bottom. And you can see this is made out of 1/4-inch stick, supposedly finished. It's not furniture grade, it's just actually the plywood they sell for underlayment. It's about somewhere in the neighborhood of $21, $22 a sheet. And it's not bad. It's got two sides that are finished, sanded, so it's only 5 millimeters thick, which is, they took off a little bit. This actually originally was 1/4 inch. So it's made out of one sheet of that, and then I cut it into pieces that are each, what size did I cut this thing? The sheets were actually cut to 34 3/4 by 48. So I'm trying to make it just a little bit bigger than the puzzle is by a 1/2 inch or so. Then I took a 1x3 and two 1x3 pine clear boards to make the outer edges. If I had any sense, I would have actually gotten one big 1x6 board or something, because it would have been cheaper. And it's because I do have a table saw. I'm just not used to using it yet. But I could have just cut them all out of that and cut them to whatever size I wanted. But I wound up using two 8-foot 1x3 clear pine trim boards, for using in finished trim that you can stain and stuff that's better grade. And they cost about like $9 a piece. The sheet of plywood is about $22. And I bought a little handle that was like $4. A wood circle, which I may or may not use, that was about $8. A Lazy Susan's about $15 for a 12-inch one. And I bought a whole bunch of magnets. Originally I was going to make this slots in the end for drawers to slide in. But then I decided to get fancy and make these whole removable puzzle trays and put tracks on them and all this. So the whole end of this actually comes off. It's held on by magnets. So there's 4 magnets. They're kitchen cabinet magnets, like you'd use for your kitchen cabinet, to keep the drawer closed. You can slide this out. And originally I was going to attach these to the end, but this end will be removable. The whole end will be like a secret hidden compartment in the end there. And you could stash puzzles or something in the 2 outer compartments, or build little boxes later to go in there for puzzle pieces. The drawers are cut out of the same stuff, the 1x2, and I trimmed it down with the saw. You could do all this with a circular saw or a router. I went around and cut the outer boards with a groove for the panel. That makes it much stronger if you have the panel actually recessed into a groove, and the there's a groove all around the edge. You can see I just cut it 1/4 inch deep and 1/4 inch wide. The edge there. Put magnets. I took apart the kitchen magnets. The magnets, I couldn't fit them. The biggest problem with this whole build was the tracks for the drawer were too tall for the space. It would have been better to have a 2-inch space instead of an 1.5 inch space inside of here, which is what these 1x2s are. So like I said, it would have made more sense to actually cut it yourself out of the pieces of like 1x6, and then you could make the boards a little bit thicker for the inside to have more room inside, because it's very difficult to get these tracks, these kitchen drawer tracks. They're about like $5 a piece for the set, so they weren't too bad. And I was going to put like fancier drawer slides, but you can't fit them because they're over 2 inches tall, the ones that are full extension drawers. But this works out because my daughter, this is for her to build puzzles on, and she likes the big 1,000 piece and all that, you know. So I figured I'd give her a challenge and get a 3,000 piece puzzle and give her this puzzle table as a Christmas present to go with it. And you can see we'll probably put some polyurethane on it so it don't get all dirty, because it's this plain white pine and it'll, you know, get all scuffed up and dirty. And this is actually the bottom. If you take it, you can just flip it over. And this is the top, actually. You can see it'll have like rounded over all the edges with a router. So you got nice rounded edges. The lip is a little higher than it actually really needed to be. You could have gotten away with a smaller lip, and that would have given you more room inside. But like I said, I had a 1x2 to work with, so if I would have actually made it more like about 2 inches tall inside, it would have been a little better, with only a little tiny lip out here. I was actually thinking of making a piece of plywood to go over the top of it, so that when you put your puzzle on there, you could then cover it with a piece of plywood. Because I've looked at everything else, and it was all ridiculously expensive. One thing I did get a clear plastic tablecloth for, you know, those times when you have a big dinner and you want to cover your fancy tablecloth with clear plastic. It's soft, and I'm going to cut a piece of that and, you know, blow it with a hairdryer till it lays nice and flat, get the wrinkles out of it because it comes folded, and put that over it. That way you can keep your puzzle from being disturbed by a cat or, you know, kids or whatever, or people putting their coffee on top of it if it's laying on a table. I figured this would be a good thing to sit, because the puzzles we have, the 1,000-piecers, won't fit onto the table very well. This table's, you know, like, I think it's like 32 or 34 square. And the puzzle is almost like 32 inches, and by like 28 or something for a 1,000 piece. So you have very little room left to live with. This will be a much bigger thing for working on a 1,000 piece, or it'll barely fit a 3,000 piece. So I figured I'd make it big enough for the 3,000. Then in the top center, I'll probably put in a handle. I got a little brass handle that was a few dollars, and that'll just sit on the top. You know, and either end can come off. When it's sitting right top, you'll be able to just pull these ends off. And you can see they snap right in with magnets. You know, it actually worked out pretty well. Takes a little bit of effort to snap it in there, but see, it goes in and stays on pretty well. You know, once you put it on there, it actually stays in place. Now, I don't know if I want to just leave it like this with polyurethane on it, or I might actually put a thin layer of felt and glue it down, or staple it down or something, in case somebody, you know, doesn't make the pieces not slide around. One advantage to these ends being removable is if you actually ever want to take the puzzle off and put it on another board and save it or something like that, you can just pull the end off and slide the puzzle off. And the same thing with the drawers. The drawers, originally I was going to attach them to the end, and then I thought, you know, it'd be nice to have them be open on one side, because when you make up a piece for the puzzle, you can then just slide it off right onto the puzzle. You know, if you make up a big piece and put it, you know, on your little cut board you're working on, you can then slide it off. Yeah, that's the big problem with this whole build was the fact that the spacing of the whole inside is very small. It's only 1.5 inches. I really would have been better off, going with a little smaller top and more space inside. Like a good 2 inches would have made all the difference in the world. Um, that's about all I can think of to say, but it, was quite an involved build because I made the plywood just a little bit too big. So you're better off making your plywood just a little small so that you're actually resting on the boards. The boards are actually, giving you the strength, and this paneling is very flimsy. So when I put the bottom on, I'm going to actually glue it and staple it to everything except the two ends. That way it'll actually give you strength to hold everything together nice and strong. But the problem with that is once you do that, you'll never get in there again to any of these spaces. I got a little center support there I got to stick in yet. That was help. If I go put the Lazy Susan there, I have more to screw to, since I had some leftover pieces. And if you have any questions, let me know or whatever. And thanks for watching.